some form of God and some form of prayer. You know what I mean? And I always found that very unique. That before there was, iPads. What was the world like without iPads? Before there was iPads, and before there was all this technology that we love so much, people were trying to connect to the real God.
And if I could chime in about prayer, I think a lot of people take it for doesn't take it seriously, because a lot of people pray for stuff, but they don't want when it comes, they're not ready.
Yeah.
If you pray for change and change starts happening in your life, the change is not going to be a smooth transition.
Right.
Because actually I'm one of those people, because I prayed for change for a long time. I worked a job, 9 to 5, and I prayed for change, and a lot of stuff started happening on the job. It's like crazy stuff, but it's like I was getting frustrated. I was like, what's going on? But actually I was going through a change.
Right.
So people, I don't think, when people pray, say, I want, I'm praying for a house, or I'm praying for a job, or I pray for change, they're not really ready for it, because once it starts happening, you're just like, okay, what's going on?
That reminds me of when Peter got locked up, and they were praying for his release, and the angel came and walks through a wall with the angel, and he goes to their front door, and they're like, who is it? He's like, it's Peter, and they're like, no, that's impossible. You know what I mean? Like, what is that? And we do that. We do that a lot. I've been praying for something just like this. A group of people that come and challenge reality and use media, understand how powerful media is. Word on the street is that even that movies are the new place to receive truth from. I get that, but I really believe that what we can really use movies for is to inspire people to return back to God. You know what I mean? But we gotta be creative with it. You know what I mean? We can't. I think the secular world has done a great job at showing the standard, and we have to be. We as Christians, we've got to be willing to meet that same standard rather than trying to get people to come down. I've seen some bad Christian movies. Good God. It's like, don't ever do that again. Realistically. Scott, you play her husband.
That's correct.
And what character is your
Marcy.
Marcy. You played Marcy's husband, and you're kind of a jerk. Is that right?
Yeah, thank you, man.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I was told I was, I guess, handpicked for that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because that's really out of character for me.
Yeah.
So it's I'm really not a jerk. So when you see this, don't hit me on the streets. But
they probably will. There's soap operas all the time. I hate you.
Yeah, but I think for me, just going through the script and analyzing my character and his role, I think that he's more of a person who cares more about himself than anything else.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He says he loves his wife. He tells her that he loves her, but his actions don't show that.
Right.
His actions show that he's more worried, more concerned with what's going on with him than what's going on with the family. When her mother is in the hospital and on her deathbed eventually, she's understandably would be broken up about that. And I'm just like, I don't want to pay for a hospital bill, I don't want to do that, So that's the type of person that he is. He seems to be cold. He seems to be callous, and he's just out for himself.
But is there a time where he breaks down and begins to pray?
I think there is a time, and I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
But there is a time where he actually starts to realize that he's really messed up, and he doesn't know if he's going to be able to recoup what he's lost.
What's crazy to me is that this is a real family dynamic. This is, and I'm tripping because I'm like, ooh, I know you in my family. I know. You know what I mean? I'm trying not to do it. I'm trying to be all professional and everything. Man, Uncle Nine. Good God, Uncle Nine. It's crazy. You guys are doing a great job, and I'm glad that you're not. I think that if you guys begin to try to play it safe, you're cutting out on so much reality. And what do you, if a person, let's say the person, someone who is like your character, and they see that character and they know it's them. Can you give some advice to them on how to change that?
Well, I think a lot of times when people see themselves, they don't recognize it, at least not right away. I know I've been there myself. You know some things are going wrong. You can't figure out why, but then when someone shows it to you, it's kind of like, well, I'm not that bad.
Right.
It's not really me. But I guess if there's anyone out there that's really like Jason, I guess when you see the full, the full the final scene, and see his well, maybe not his transformation or the beginnings of that transformation, I think it's the opportunity for you to take a look at yourself and say, hey, maybe I can be better. Maybe I can do some things that aren't so self-centered.
Instead of assuming that it's not you,
yeah,
ask the question that it could be possibly
it's
you.
hard to look at yourself and try to change something.
Yeah, because I know when I watch movies, I always see myself as the guy that wins and the hero. You never see yourself as Darth Vader. You're Luke Skywalker. You're the hero. You're the good guy. How do I rate that? No, you're the jerk. But really, I mean, I think that's a good point that people need to really be able to see themselves, and that's one of the things I think that the power of actors and actresses have, is to help people see themselves and even laugh at themselves at times and things like that. So did you find that men do kind of struggle with showing their wives love? Do you think it's a struggle with love or never having love?
I think a lot of times, especially in our community, a lot of times we don't get the opportunity to see a grown man showing a grown woman the appropriate types of love. We see, from experience, I see, my dad was in the streets, my uncles were in the streets, so that's what I saw. But as a kid, I always said, I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be that. I've been married for 12 years now, and I'm blessed and I'm happy, and I love my wife to death. And I would never treat her the way that Jason treats Marcy.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know. I guess it's the opportunity for people who are in this situation to try to make a difference, to try to make a change, and see that it doesn't have to be a repeat of what you learned.
Now, being that you play his wife and Marcy, there's like these two dynamics. I know that there's the women that say you don't have to put up with that stuff, with the jerk attitude and all that, and then I know there's be patient, he'll change. Which one is Marcy?
Be patient and change.
Right.
Just stick in there, hang in there.
Does the family encourage you to get away from her?
No. Well, actually, they do. She doesn't, honey.
Of course,
they tell me not to steer away from that, and they realize. Mario as well will tell me, in his own way, that this is not right, or excuse me, this isn't right. So yes, they do.
Yeah. Alright, the one who thought she was skipped. No, but tell me a little bit about your character.
Well, I play Maria, and I'm not one of the adopted children. I'm the daughter of one of the adopted children. And my character is kind of like, she wants to be close to perfection all the time. Gets good grades in school, always wants to please her father, kind of like that, And there's a certain point where she wants to work in his office. So.
Well, now, in a dynamic like that, when you see what becomes the sole focus of her, is that really just to please her dad? Because I know people like that too, and I'm like, oh, y'all are killing me, But because I'm ready to say names, like stop it. But what do you see that character? What is her main drive?
Well, I think, she has a stepmom, and she doesn't like her at all. So I think, she doesn't. Right. So I think part of that is and they don't, in the show, they don't really have a good relationship. So it's oh, maybe if I do this, Daddy won't be mad. Kind of like that.
Now, how old is your character?
15.
Do you think that follows, as they grow, as they grow into that character, as the character gets older, does that impact them in their later years?
I think it does. And I also think it does impact them in their relationships. They try to, if a woman gets in a relationship with a man, it wouldn't be she'd probably be behind him. she wouldn't be, you know,
she'd see herself under
him,
yeah.
always trying to please him, always, you know, quiet, you know, like that.
Well, how important is it that children get along with their step-parents?
I believe it's really important because if it's kind of like a disconnect in the family, you know, and it's like you have the one parent and you have the other parent, and then if you don't get along with one parent, then it also becomes like it's a problem for everybody else.
Right.
So instead of like it's a problem for you, it's a problem for that child, but then maybe the father is like, you need to start treating her better.
Well, why exactly don't they get along? I mean, is it because they're just not connecting?
It might be that, and it might be past issues. Maybe you never met your mother. Maybe something bad happened to your mother. Maybe it was like a bad divorce, something like that.
I know a lot of kids